Welcome to Program Planning Part 2. We're continuing discussion of Chapter 6, where we'll go over steps 6, 7, and 8 in the ABC curriculum process and the learning activities that are associated with these steps. In these steps, there's a little bit of math involved. I'm going to try my best to help you with the math. It's really simple: adding, subtracting, dividing, and multiplying. So hopefully it's not too detailed. Don't get yourself scared if you are math phobic. So step 6. Here we're calculating how much instructional time that we have available to us. So how much time do you have to teach? So here's some math. And you can look at figure 6.6 in your textbook. So we're going to take the number of grades. Let's say you are a middle school teacher and you have 3 grades. So you have 3 grades. That actually, let me just use the example that I'm going to use later. So let's say you're a high school teacher and you only have 2 grades. You times that by the number of weeks per year that you have, times the minimum minutes per class, and you times that by the number of classes per week, gives you the total minutes. And then we subtract 10% from that because of dressing out and various other managerial activities. And that gives us our total minutes. So let me give you an example. This is from the figure 6.62 also. So we have 2 grades. We're talking about a high school here. We have high school 2 grades. They meet 18 weeks per year. Doesn't seem like enough weeks in my opinion. So 18 weeks per year. Each class is 90 minutes, and they have 5 classes per week. So that gives us a total of 16,200 total minutes. We subtracted 10%, which is 1,620, gives us 1,450 total minutes of an instructional time total for the two grades. So to get the total number of hours, we do the total minutes divided by 60, since there are 60 minutes in an hour. Gives us the total number of hours, or we have 14,580 divided by 60 equals 243 hours of instructional time for the 2 grades. So we have hours per year or per grade equals the total hours divided by the number of grades. So we have 243 hours divided by 2 grades. So we have 121.5 hours per grade. Okay, pretty straightforward. It's just simple math. You just have to go look at your information for your school and plug in the numbers. So you're going to do this in learning activity 6.4. You're going to calculate how much instructional time you have. Use the template I provided and plus the examples I have provided to calculate your instructional time. Again, straight math, pretty straightforward, so hopefully it won't be too challenging for you. Step 7 is a little bit more involved. Hopefully I can help you through the calculating average objective mastery times. So here we must determine how much time it will take for your students to master each objective. This is going to be dependent on several things: how many students you have, the facilities and equipment that you have, the abilities of each student, experience of your teacher, and other factors. So a lot of this is going to be dependent on, all these are going to be dependent on these factors. So I'm going to talk about the learning activity first, then I'm going to go back and talk about how to go do this. So in this learning activity, what you're going to do is use the objective list that you generated in activity 6.2 for one content area, estimate how long it will take to teach mastery of each objective to a typical class of students. Then you're going to create create and use a worksheet like the example there you can read. So you're going to need to estimate how long it will take for students to master the material. So let's talk about how we do this. So you're going to select one learning objective for each of the content areas that you developed earlier. It doesn't matter which one, you can pick whatever learning objective you want, but each content area needs to be represented. Then you're going to estimate in minutes how long would it take to teach and each student to master that particular learning objective. Now, if we were really doing this in a curriculum process, you would have each teacher do this. So if you had a committee of 5 teachers, each teacher would do all this calculation and guesstimation, because it is a guess. In the class, I'm going to say that you have 3 teachers. You're just going to be all 3 teachers, but you're going to give different numbers for each teacher. Then you'll put each time estimate in the table, and then you'll average the estimation for each content area. And that'll give you a weighted average, which is estimated average times the number of learning objectives. So let's look at the table. This is an example of the table. So the content area is fitness. I have the sample objective there. So we have 3 teachers. Teacher 1 said, it's going to take 420 minutes. Teacher 2 says 480 minutes. And teacher 3 says 420 minutes. And so simply do an average. Assume you know how to do an average. You add up all 3 divided by 3, and that gives you an average 440 minutes for that particular content area. So if you had 5 content areas, you would have a table of 5 content areas, 5 sample objectives, and estimates for each of those areas, and come up, and you would have 5 different averages. So then we go into this next table, where we would take the estimated average, which is the 440 that I showed from the previous slide, and I put in another content area and said that average was 350. And since I have limited the number of objectives for our assignment to 9, we have just bring you back to that step. For each content area, you will have, or for each program goal, you'll have 3 content areas, and for each content area, you have 3 learning objectives. So that gives you the 9 learning objectives. That's why I have 9 there. And so then what we do is we take the estimated average, multiply that by the content area. They give us our weighted average. So for the fitness, it's 3,960. And then team sports is 350 times 9, which equals 3,150. And so our total weighted average equals 7,110. And then we have a total of 18 objectives. So what? And what do we do next? We finally get to end up with our objective mastery time. We take our weighted average divided by our total number of objectives. So we have a weighted average is 1,710 divided by the 18, which equals 395 minutes available, or 6.5 hours per objectives. So this means we have 6.5 hours to master each objective. That's a lot of time, because I didn't provide that many objectives. But again, if we had 5 content areas, this number would be shorter. You'd have less time. Whoops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Hit the wrong button on my keyboard. So again, at the end of step 7, this is the number we wanted, is 6.5 hours to master each objective. And then we go on to step 8. Step 8 is calculating how much content to include. What should you include in your curriculum? How long should it take? And so we're going to use information from steps 4 through 7, or activities 6.1 to 6.5 to complete this step. So steps, 8 steps. So maybe if you have your textbook in front of you, go to figure 6.9 in your textbook. So first step, take total time available for instruction from step 6 and divide it by the average length of time to master objective, step 7. So what's that? And this will give you the estimated number of objectives that can be covered in your curriculum. So we said we had 243 hours of total instructional time from step 6. And then in step 7, we said we had 6.5 hours per objective. So that means we can actually really include 37 objectives in our curriculum. So next step is how many objectives to teach in each program goal. This equals the percent goal emphasis for each goal. We went over this in step 5. We multiplied this by the number of objectives in program. So we select top ranked objectives from each goal, and this is from back on step 4. So let's take a look at what this looks like, okay? So we have our goal. I put 4 goals. We have more than this, and this I took this from figure 6.9. So we have the percent goal weight, which we did earlier in the steps. Then we said our total number of objectives that we can actually have is 37 based on our math. And then what we do is some additional math. We do 18.5% times 37. So that would be 0.185 times 37. That tells us that we can cover a number 9 objectives for this goal. I'm rounding up or down, so you can't have half of an objective, so you have to have whole numbers here. So for this one, we can have 9. For the fitness, we can have 9 objectives. And for the social, we had a percent goal weight of 10%. So we take 0.1, or that's 10%, times 37, and rounds up to 4 objectives for this goal. So the total number of objectives that we're going to get to is 37. That's where we have to do our cutoff. When we get the 37 goals, objectives, that's all we can cover. So we can only cover 9 objectives in the fitness area. We can only cover 4 objectives in the social area. We can only cover 5 objectives in the body awareness. We can only cover 3 objectives in the tennis. So what this tells you is you have to make a decision what you want. If you want depth in your curriculum, you're going to have fewer goals and more objectives per goal. You're going to spend more time on fewer areas. But if you want more breadth in your curriculum, you're going to have large number of goals and less objectives per goal. This means you're going to provide more information but spend less time in particular areas. So the purpose of steps 2 and 4 is to identify the importance of particular program goals and objectives. So you have to think about that when you're doing those steps. So again, the question is, what do you want your students to know when they are done with your curriculum? So in learning activity 6.4 through 6.6, these activities are designed to assist you in completing steps 6 through 8. Use the template that I've provided and the worksheets in the textbook. See the completed projects, and those are the template and worksheets and the completed projects are all included in the course documents. As always, if you have questions about any of this, please ask for help.